Good morning. Welcome to my channel, Cafe Life. My name is Påtår, and today we will be experiencing the IKEA coffee experience. So, I went to IKEA and I bought their coffee beans, dark roast, and I also picked up their drip coffee, metallic filter, as you can see here. The funnel, the tray, and then we're going to be making coffee with about 3 tablespoons of pre-grounded coffee. From this, I actually bought 2 bags, and then let's get started. And for water, we're going to be using about 300 milliliters of water. So this is the utilizing the water from my Espresso coffee machine, the ECM Technika V, because I don't have like a water boiler down here in this studio. So this is 250. And then I'll add the last 50 millimeters of water. So we have about 300 milliliters of coffee. So here's the IKEA coffee bag that I'm brewing right now. Drip coffee. It's very easy to clean after the coffee's done. So let's have a closer look here. So it's slowly going down. So this IKEA cup is about 360 millimeters of water that you can put in. So we're just brewing about 300. So leave some space so that at the top so you can put milk or just drink it black. I usually drink mine black. Okay, it's nearly done. There's still some water at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it, but it's still working in progress. There's maybe like 50 millimeters of water that needs to be filtered down. So as we wait, so this is basically it. Very simple. You don't need any fancy coffee machines to enjoy a good cup of coffee. IKEA. I'm not sponsored by them. I was just scrolling through their store the other week. Picked up their cup. I really like it. It's a white cup, so it's better for big cappuccino. Usually, if I do drink it, or like a big cup of black coffee for the afternoon, and also their filter drip device here is great. Flat tray, put the funnel in, and metal mesh. That's very fine. Like if you run your fingers through it, there's no sharp edges. So the manufacturing process is great. And as you can see, it's pretty much done at the top. And then we are going to remove this and put it here. So there you go. We have our IKEA coffee in our IKEA cup. And let's have a taste now. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so if you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. Thank you for tuning in, and if you liked it, please subscribe to help the channel grow. Again, I'll see you at my next video. Thank you again.